Good morning, Emma. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Richard.
It's a beautiful
Very
sunny
formal.
Wednesday here in Manchester. Good to see you all. Quick 5-second weather forecast, Emma. What can we look for? Does you drive a job?
Oh, I just have to wave my arms about, don't I? That usually works. Make it up as we go
Great
along.
stuff.
That's what people think we do anyway.
Actually, Emma taught me a great meteorological word last night, evapotranspiration.
I can't believe you brought that up.
I'm not quite sure what it means. Anyway, good morning. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedules to meet with us today. For those of you who don't know me, who I guess is most of you, I'm Richard Northcott, and I'll let you into a little secret here. As well as being one of the tallest employees of Blitz at over 6'3", I also have one of the longest job titles. Yes, Digital Media Product Developer. Now, what does this mean? Well, it's myself and my team of merry men and women who are responsible for some of these technologies that we're going to be talking about today. So these are actually homemade, they're conceived, built, they're Blitz's own property. So they are completely unique within the AV marketplace. Okay, so let's crack on.
So, Richard, why SMS, and how can we make those text messages fit into the live events industry?
One of the things that's become really apparent at Blitz, and I'm probably preaching to the converted here, is the changing nature of live events. No longer is it okay to stand and merely lecture your audience. Hopefully I won't be doing that today. Events are all about a two-way communication. It's about involving, engaging your audience, getting their feedback. And we found that SMS is a really powerful medium to achieve this. So, what sort of things can we do with SMS? Obviously, SMS is the short message service on our phones we all know and love. Questions for the panel. Okay, so you're sitting, you're listening to the speaker, a question pops into your head, you can text it there and then to the SMS system. You might capture comments and suggestions. What should our company be doing? How can we move forward? Some ideas that you've got. Or maybe at the end of the event, you might be capturing, event feedback. Okay, so how was the event for you? What did you learn? What were the takeaways? What could we improve? All things you could do with SMS. It's an anonymous system. I think that's hugely powerful because if you imagine a roving mic scenario, you've got something a little bit contentious that you want to ask the head honcho. Perhaps people are a little bit afraid to put up their hand and be seen to ask the question, but using the anonymity of the text message, we can perhaps gauge get a better view of what our audience is really thinking, difficult as that might be sometimes. And it's ideal for bullet points. What I mean by that is it's focusing little bite-sized chunks of text, by the nature of the text message being short and concise, little bite-sized chunks that we can capture and feed back to the audience at our event. Very importantly as well, it's a very, very cost-effective solution. Now, why is this? Well, with a traditional keypad system, this is something that Blitz does offer, you would need to rent a voting keypad for each and every person. I would guess that the majority of you, probably all of you, have got at least one phone on you. So the hardware is already out there. So if you've got a big audience, maybe in the thousands, then it's just a system cost. It doesn't depend on the number of users. Okay, and here comes a big statistic to wow you. We might be a year or two out of date with these figures, but the UK population, maybe last year, was an estimated 62 million. And of those 62 million, between them, they had this is an estimate of course, over 80 million handsets. So ladies and gentlemen, there are more handsets out there than there are people in the UK.
So what did the captured messages look like, Richard?
Okay, well, probably the best way to move forward here is to run a live example. So hopefully you've all got your phones on you, you've got them on silent. What I want to know is, how did you spend, nice easy question, how did you spend the bank holiday Monday? Okay, let me know by text. you can lie if it's, a bit dodgy, but what did you do, Emma? What were you up to?
That, I was working. I'm always working.
Okay.
I was royal weathering, making sure that everybody had a nice long weekend of sunshine.
Yeah, very important point here on this slide, and that is that texts are being charged at your standard network rate. So for many of you, hopefully it'll be free. If not, it's a few pence. We're not making any money out of you during this exercise at all. Now, you can see behind me are some of the exciting things that we've been up to. This is what the crew like to do. Rodding drains, caught up on some much-needed sleep. Okay, I was fixing my floorboards. You may have spotted that earlier. So there's lots of ways you can see that your messages that are coming will add to that scroll. It's just going around a loop at the moment. Lots of ways that we can show your messages, and this is just one of the many ways we can do that. So that loop will start again in a moment. Quite an interesting story here. This is a true story. I was working at the Erotica show at Olympia many years ago, backstage, of course, and we asked the question, we said to the public, send your messages to appear on the big screen. So the first message which came in was obviously, help, I'm stuck in a big screen. And the second was, thanks, Mum, for a great day out, which I thought was nice. So
that's nice. I can see you with
family trip out.
I can see you with a 10-foot boa constrictor around your neck and some feathers, Richard. That's very nice.
Yeah. Okay, so your text is coming in now. So again, this is one way we can show it. Just very, very quickly, the product that we've... What was that?
Your babies. Baby.
Well, I'll read of some more in a minute. I'm sure there's some good ones in there.
How long does that take to come through? So everybody's texting there.
And the loop itself has got a slight lag here, but the text comes through to the system in about 5 seconds normally, so it's very quick.
Not bad, is it?
The product surrounding the screen here that we're seeing the text on today is a product called GLEC. It is an LED wall product. Blitz is the sole UK supplier of this. It's ideal for this kind of eye-grabbing, almost like a scenery item. So we're just putting normal computer graphics onto that. Now, what we've just put up on screen behind me is, again, it's the same messages, but in a different format. So clearing the pond, mowing the lawn, dancing, fixing my dodgy floorboards, gun practice. Again, it's anonymous, we don't need to know who it was, sobering up. Yeah, you're a busy bunch, aren't you? Okay, so we're looking at the same content there, just in 2 different formats. House hunting, I've been just finished that, thank God, that's over. Right, so that's text. As I say, the actual way I've built these 2 modes for today, but they can display very much in a style of your choosing, so we can work with your own your event branding, your corporate colours and so on.
But Richard, what about if you've got Gordon Ramsay hiding under a table there or something and texting away madly? What about moderation? Surely there's got to be some sort of interface between what's sent into the system and what actually is projected.
That's a very valid point, and because I trust all you good people so wholeheartedly, everything that you've sent me today is going straight up on screen. Now, of course, in the live event environment, that could potentially be dangerous. So what we're doing at the moment, this is an unmoderated scenario, so let's text some messages to the system. What can I do with digital signage? My twin brother will be talking about that later this morning. What are the various 3D technologies available to me? Again, that's something we're talking about today. And will the LCCC venue space, the point, suit my event? Almost certainly. These are all good questions. Now, using a moderated scenario, what we do is we put a human being, an operator, between the phones and the display screen, effectively. So here's some messages. I'm interested in building a widescreen presentation. How can I put it best use for my application? Good question. I'm bored already and want to... Okay, that's not so good. And no, this is not good stuff. Okay, so this is where the moderation really comes into its own, and we would kill those questions so they never appear on the screen. So moderation is a very powerful and useful tool in the live environment. So what we can do is we can show relevant items only. Let's say you've got an audience of several thousand people. You might want to pick out the top 10 or 20 issues that you want to talk about, or perhaps pick out the relevant topics. Make it actually possible to process some sensible amounts of information live. Of course, the entirety of the texts that come in are being captured behind the scenes. We never lose the data. It's kept on the server. It's a case of what you want to moderate and talk about live on screen. And it might be that you don't even show the messages on the main screen. You might have them just as a floor monitor here, so the presenter can see, OK, here are the questions that are coming in for the panel, say. And finally, as you've just seen, we can banish to the digital bin anything that's offensive, slanderous, or simply untrue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is what we did. We banished yours of what you really did on Bank Holiday Monday.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, we've seen how we can send text messages into the system, but what about you sending, or the client sending text messages out to delegates? Is that possible?
Absolutely, yes. So you're absolutely right. Today, you guys have been sending me things, but we can also send content back from the SMS system to you, the users. And there's two ways that we can do this. The first is what I call an automatic response. So this is, if you like, a standard SMS receipt that everyone would get as a participant. So here's a question: should we be concentrating on local or global markets? That's going into the SMS system. And the server can respond with a standard preset message of our or your choosing, which is, many thanks for your question. All feedback will be available on our website. So the delegate knows that we've got their message, they're being listened to, and we're going to get back to them in good time. So they know that we've received their SMS successfully. So that's a nice little feature. And any message would get that same automated message back. Now, looking at a custom response, this is where we can actually tailor the response to the individual, because it's a lot quicker to sit at a laptop, tap away, type the message, hit send. That's a lot quicker than using the phone. So again, here's a question that someone's asked. What time is lunch? Oh, good question. We think, again, this depends a bit on the schedule, but it's going to be roughly today. It's going to be served. Again, we're typing on the computer, served at 12:30. Thank you from the events team, and that goes to the phone. So that's a message composed specifically to respond to that very question. So that's how we can communicate back to the users of the SMS system.
Well, that's all very well sending text messages, but we've all been at conferences and events where maybe a voting system needs to be implemented. Can this be used for voting as well, and how can that be used?
We're talking things like the X Factor that obviously I've never watched.
Yeah, ask the audience, things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a millionaire? Whatever.
OK, of course, yes, we can do voting. Multiple choice voting, yes. So you can have on your phone from 2, might be as simple as do you agree, yes, no. To any number of options. It's really, really open-ended. You might be texting the 5 scales: strongly disagree, agree strongly, and somewhere in the middle. Very open-ended. We can build whatever you want to do on the text message system. We can build any display format chart, again, whatever's sensible for your application. So it might be, typically we do bar charts, but you could have pie charts, you could have product images that size themselves to the popularity of the vote. Lots of options on that. And we can choose our own voting keywords, so what the text message vote actually looks like when you compose it on your phone. So at a very simple level, it might be the letter A, say, from your phone. That's a 1-character text message. I don't think that's any cheaper than the 160-character text message, isn't it? No. Anyway, vote A. You might put a keyword on it. So, for example, vote B. That's quite powerful, actually, that last example, because what you could do with that is you could be running, let's say, on the same number, a question and answer session, so you're texting questions, and a vote as well. And it's that keyword vote that identifies whether that message from that user is a vote-type message or whether it's a question. So if that word's not there, we assume it's a question for the panel, say. And that's actually what we'll be doing shortly today. Or you might be texting a word. So, who should we be working with? You give a list of company names. This is heavily loaded, isn't it? Blitz, there you go. So you might text the word Blitz as your answer.